All right, Will, thank you. Well, now that she's been appointed to the U.S. Senate, Martha McSally faces the daunting task of running for her seat for a second time in just 2 years. Let's check in now with Team 12's political reporter Bram Resnick. He's verifying what McSally would have to do in the Senate to hold on to that seat. Bram?
Yeah, 2020 is a lot closer than it seems. Democrats already lining up to take on Martha McSally. We verified 4 things McSally could do to avoid losing this seat for a second time. Martha McSally's Senate appointment is a rare second chance to make a first impression on voters.
While we were in harm's way in uniform, Kyrsten Sinema was protesting us in a pink tutu.
Many Republicans knock McSally's scorched earth ad campaign against Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema for failing to tell voters who McSally was.
You have to have a lot of self-reflection on what went wrong and what should be done differently.
McSally could win if she finds a way to deal with President Donald Trump.
Your next United States Senator from Arizona, Martha McSally.
McSally embraced the president during her Senate campaign. 2 years ago, she shunned him while running for Congress in her Tucson swing district. McSally's own campaign admitted the Trump embrace hurt her. McSally could win in 2020 if she does at least some things the McCain way. McSally met with Cindy McCain last week to mend fences. During the Senate campaign, McSally repeatedly snubbed Senator John McCain. The result of the McSally-McCain summit? Tepid support from Cindy. My husband's greatest legacy was placing service to Arizona and the United States ahead of his own self-interest. I respect Doug Ducey's decision to appoint Martha McSally to fill the remainder of his term. Arizonans will be pulling for her, hoping that she will follow his example of selfless leadership.
And certainly Cindy's tweet does not suggest a ringing endorsement from herself or the McCain family for what Martha McSally stands for.
We verified Martha McSally doesn't have much time to get it together. 2020 is already here.
I think it was a predictable choice, but it was a bad choice.
McCain pal Grant Woods, a former Republican Attorney General and newly converted Democrat, says McSally made his decision on whether to run for the Senate in 2020 much easier. And 2 other Democrats, Congressman Ruben Gallego of Phoenix and Gabby Gifford's husband and former astronaut Mark Kelly, are also considering a run. Mark, Caribe?
You know, it's interesting. We've gone from a state that didn't have any female senators to a state that now has 2.
We're going to have 2, and lots of folks are asking, are we the only one? The answer is no, we're not. California has 2 right now. And in fact, 6 other states have had 2 female senators at the very same time.
But still making Arizona history.
Absolutely.
Okay.